Welcome YouTubers, I'm Kevin, this is RantGamers, and today on RantGamers we're going to be breaking down this video that Colin Moriarty did. This is probably about 3-4 weeks old, back in the day when there was a lot of hype, petitions, and complaining about the Mass Effect 3 plot holes, questions unanswered, cut, copy, pasted, recolor endings. So, Colin Moriarty is an editor of IGN and PlayStation. So let's break down his video.
What's up, everyone? I'm Colin Moriarty, editor of IGN PlayStation. I've been seeing a lot on the internet lately about Mass Effect 3 and about people kind of getting angry, complaining about the endings and the DLC and this and that and the other thing. So people don't like Mass Effect 3's ending. That's it. Some people don't like Mass Effect 3's ending, so they want a petition to change it. That's the reason that they want BioWare to change it, because they didn't like
it. Alright. What's funny about this is that Colin is in the video game industry. That's his job. He's an editor. So you would think that as an editor, he would remember from high school that when you state something in an argument, you need to have something to back it up. Well, he failed to do research, because I've never played a Mass Effect game in my life. And yet I know exactly what the Mass Effect fans are complaining about. They're complaining about the cut, copy, pasted, recolor, alternate endings. They're complaining about the plot holes and the unanswered questions in the game. That's what they're complaining about. They're not literally complaining about the ending of the game. Alright? That's what they're complaining about. So this gentleman didn't do any research. So this just goes to show, this right here makes me think that he was actually paid to do this video. It would not surprise me if IGN, PlayStation, not them specifically, but BioWare, EA, paid Colin Moriarty to actually create this video. And you'll continue to see this proof throughout the video of why I think this. And that is because he just doesn't bring anything to the argument. His sole purpose in this video is to defend, 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 defend. He at no time really alliterates to the greater concept of saying, yo, EA, yes, they did this, and this was wrong. At no time does he do that. This whole video is about defend, defend, defend. So, to be honest, my opinion on this video is that he was paid to do this, and this is not solely his opinion.
the ending of Battlestar Galactica. I hated the ending of Rosemary's.
Alright, I don't know exactly what Rosemary, whatever it is he's going to call it. But I don't know of any Battlestar Galactica video games. And even if there is a Battlestar Galactica video game, you really can't compare it to something like Mass Effect, the series / franchise, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it a franchise just because it is so popular. You can't compare Battlestar Galactica, even if it did have a video game. And if he's comparing the TV show, well then, to be honest, again, why is he doing it? He's supposed to be an editor of the video game industry, so you think he would actually use a video game as an example rather than a TV show. They are completely two different medias. One you sit down and you watch, the other you interact with. They are completely different. So you really can't compare the ending of a TV series to the ending of a video game just because one is interactive and the other is not.
There's just a proper and improper way to go about criticizing a project.
I want you to pay attention to what he just said. There's a proper and improper way of criticizing basically products, things that you do not like. I want you to take note of that and remember it. I'll bring this up later in the video.
There's this one game that came out not too long ago. It's called Resistance 3, and I really hated the ending, even though I was invested in it so much. So I thought the ending of the game was abysmal. Here's what I didn't do.
Again, he's an editor in the video game industry, so why is he choosing an example of a mediocre game? And again, by mediocre, I don't mean horrible, crappy, shitty, or anything like that. I mean, I doubt the Resistance series is as popular as the Mass Effect series. I highly doubt it. And he's about to say that he didn't go on Twitter and blab ass or harass the creators of Resistance 3. He didn't create a stupid online petition. Those are his words. And the reality of it is, no duh. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that there are tons of games out there, and you, Colin, being in the video game industry, should already know this. There are tons of games out there that people do not like the endings. Let me give you an example, not just in general of the ending of the game. They just don't like the game in general. I'm going to list a couple of popular one franchise that comes right off the bat. Final Fantasy. And by that, I'm referring to the games such as Final Fantasy X-2, Final Fantasy 13, and Final Fantasy 13-2. Many people did not like neither of those games, whether it was gameplay, the ending, the story, whatever the case may be. But it didn't get enough negative feedback for Square Enix to sit back and go, oh, hey, maybe we screwed this up, maybe we should try and do something. That didn't happen. When it came, for example, to Final Fantasy 13, all it did was, hey, we did something wrong. When we do the sequel, let's try and fix this. It still didn't satisfy the end customers, and that's actually quite understandable. Alright, everybody wants to talk about that video games are an art form. But if your art is incomplete, how can it be considered art? Let me give you an example real quick. The story of Mass Effect, writing is an art form within itself. So if the story has plot holes, it doesn't answer all the questions within the story, how can it be a complete story? How can it be complete art? If the graphic designers and programmers decided that the best option was to cut, copy, paste all of the different alternate endings to where they're basically 80% the same thing, how is that considered art? It isn't. That's considered laziness. Nobody wants to get done with a book and have 5 billion questions that are unanswered, especially if it's not a sequel. Nobody wants to get to a book with alternate endings, because they do make books like that. Go to this page for this, go to that page for this. They don't want to read all of the different alternate endings only to find out that 80% of all of the alternate endings are all the same. There's only about 20% that's different. No reader wants to do that. Same with a person with a movie, a TV series. It doesn't matter what it is.
On Twitter and lambast and harass the guys who made Resistance 3. So I didn't go on Metacritic and tank their score. I didn't send around stupid online petitions asking them to change the ending of their own game on fiction.
Alright, he just listed all of his negative reasons for why, those are all improper ways of giving somebody feedback. Alright, the Metacritic he sort of kind of explained, but as opposed to the petitions and the Twitter, he doesn't actually explain why those are improper ways. You cannot, in an argument, state something and not continue explaining why you think that way. It doesn't work like that in the real world, because it's going to make people stand back and go, this guy is an idiot. He has no clue what he's talking about. Clearly, he didn't do any research. And if you don't want people to harass you, to call you stupid, to call you every name in the book, you need to make sure that you explain what you're trying to explain to your viewer. He failed to do this. And not to mention, he says harass. Well, here's a reality check for you, Colin, because apparently you didn't pay attention to any kind of sexual harassment or harassment video that most businesses that you work for make you watch or paid attention to in high school for that particular section of a class. And that is, in order to harass somebody, it has to be the same individual or individuals doing it over and over and over again. This means that I'd have to go on your Twitter, Colin, and just call you every name in the book, like every hour, every day, constantly doing it every time, every day, etc., 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 etc. That is harassment. A bunch of people doing it Once or twice is not harassment. So someone needs to recheck their definition. And obviously, IGN and PlayStation, you need to make this gentleman rewatch your harassment and sexual harassment video because clearly he didn't understand the concept behind it.
There is a proper way to disagree.
See, he just brought it up again. There is a proper way to disagree. He just went over 3 examples that he thought were improper ways of doing it. Besides the fact that he really didn't explain why they were improper, he doesn't explain what is the proper way to do it. Again, he's lacking an argument. In fact, this is kind of funny. The most recent class I'm taking for my bachelor's degree in creative writing and entertainment is English Composition 2, and it's where we're learning to present an argument. That if you're going to state something, you need to have something to back it up. All right? If you're going to state something again, you need to continue what it is you're trying to convey to the reader, the watcher, the viewer, the player, etc. All right? You cannot make a statement and just ignore it completely. Like, it is bad to create online petitions to review somebody's product. I can't say that and then never explain why I think that.
Because it's day 1 DLC.
You didn't get the complete game. No, there was day 1 DLC, and it's unforgettable.
Because God forbid, BioWare and Electronic Arts, they want to make money. I know that game development's supposed to be altruistic and it's supposed to be people just make.
So apparently it's all right for a business to do day 1 DLC because they're just trying to make a business. So Colin, by your logic, if I had the resources and the money to buy a major automobile industry, let's say I went and I bought BMW, all right? Then by your logic, from a business practice, it's all right for me if I looked at all of my manufacturers around the world, the sellers, etc. of BMWs, and I look at them all, we're no longer going to sell the engine inside the car. We're going to take that out. People are going to buy the car. If they want the engine, they have to buy it separately. We're also going to take the rims and the tires and the stereo out because we can make more money if we sell all of these things individually. We can then also, from there, I can then say, this store, these stores with this name, they get exclusive rights to have the engine in the car. This store in this location gets exclusive rights to have all the tires. This store gets exclusive rights to have the radio inside it. But if you still, no matter where you go, henceforth, exclusive downloadable content is the example here, is that because they're dispersed, if I go to one store, I'm still going to have to buy all the other individual items separately. So by your logical thinking, Colin, that is a good business ethics. And I dare you to come back and try and argue this example because it is no different. And you want to know why? Because it's been proven that video game companies purposely take out content from the game when they're developing it just so they could sell it separately. That is very disrespectful to their valued customers. Very disrespectful. And according to you, Colin Moriarty, that's just a good business practice.
And Electronic Arts says that it's on the disc. But who?
Actually, no. I have not read any article on any site that is actually noteworthy of not posting rumors of EA or BioWare openly admitting that, hey, we did put DLC on the disc. Let me give you a little known fact here, Mr. Colin, because you're an editor and apparently you don't do proper research when you're creating this argument video. And this just continues my argument of why I think you were paid to do this, because defend. You do not defend, explain. You defend. You have no argument. So a known fact for you, Mr. Colin, is that Casey Hudson, executive producer of the Mass Effect franchise, tweeted on February 22nd, that they finished the game in January and then they started working from the From Ashes DLC. when DLC was found on the disc, they were questioned about it again, and they said they've already responded to DLC on the disc. So basically they're sticking with, we completed it in January, and then we started working on the From Ashes DLC. They are openly and willingly lying to their valued customers. And you are defending them with no physical proof that, hey, they have come out and openly admitted that it was on there. They haven't. As far as every valued customer of the Mass Effect franchise, and as far as every other gamer out there who is siding with all the Mass Effect fans, has not seen a hide and hair of BioWare or EA openly admitting that, hey, yeah, we screwed up. We put DLC on the disc. They haven't. They're lying about it, and they're continuing to lie about it. So, my friend, your argument holds no weight again. You did not do any research. The more we watch this video, the more your video just seems like exactly what I said. You were paid to defend. But you were not paid to defend, explain. Yeah, I disagree with this. They shouldn't have done this. Defend, explain. You defend to your heart's content. Because I guarantee you were paid to create this video.
Guard says that it's on the disc. But who gives a shit it's on the disc? Who cares if Mass Effect 3 was 90% DLC that was locked on the disc? That doesn't mean anything. It's their game.
Wow. I think that just proved my statement that this young man was paid to do this. Because what true gamer is going to blatantly sit there and be like, yeah, it's all right for them to lock 90% of the game on the disc, charge you $60 for 10%, and then probably charge you little small pieces here and there, $4.99, $5.99, $9.99, $15.99, for the rest of that 90% of the game, which more than likely is going to equal over $60 or even over $100. To him, that is awesome. I mean, hell, if that was the case, then, let's see, BMW, by his logic, then I could do more than just take the tires, the radio, and the engine out. Let's see, might as well get rid of the side mirrors, the rear view mirror, take those out. I might as well take out the windshield and the back windshield. I don't know the exact proper term for the window in the back of the vehicle because I'm not a car kind of guy. I'm going to call it the rear windshield. And then, of course, to take the windows out of the side of the car. Let's see, I might as well take the frame out. Who needs a frame for a car anyway? They could buy that separately. So basically, by the time you're done, in fact, all you get is probably the frame. There's your 10% of the car. We're going to sell you the rest of the 90% of the car separately at relatively higher prices than normal. That way we could make a larger profit than if we would have put the car together and sold it to you in one lump sum. Apparently that is a good business ethics to practice, and all of us should do it. So that means, for example, fellow writers, when you write a book, you might as well just take out, if you write a 30-page, 30-chapter book, well, you can take out basically, you could leave like 2 chapters in there. Leave 2 chapters in there, take the rest out, and those are sold separately. By his logic, you know, you might as well just get rid of the writing, the cover art, because, you know, if I want that, I can buy that separately. If I want a cover in general, you might as well rip that out. You know, I could buy that separately. If I want to know who the author is, might as well take that information out, because if I want to know, I could buy that separately too. Are you getting how ridiculous this is? Apparently, by his logic, it's all right if I go and I buy a house. And I can, I could buy the frame. If I want a roof, walls, all that good stuff, installation, I have to buy all that separately. That's a good business practice. We all should just get into this, nickel and diming our valued customers. That's what he's saying is all right to do, to nickel and dime customers. I buy a brand new TV from Sony. It's all right if they sell me the remote control separately. It's all right that they rip the power cord out and they sell that to me separately. It's all right. It's all right for businesses to nickel and dime their customers.
Why don't you do something proactive about it by not buying it? Of course.
Isn't that what most people on the internet ranting about, complaining, arguing, discussing, telling other gamers, other fans of Mass Effect not to buy it. But it's kind of hard when you have gamers out there that are like, you know what? I don't like this, but I'm going to buy it anyway because I'm such a fan of Mass Effect. I'm not going to buy it. I don't like it, but I'm going to buy it because I'm such a fan of Final Fantasy. I don't like it, but I'm going to buy it because I'm such a fan of Mortal Kombat. There are people out there like that. And it's funny that he grouped everyone up together. He grouped them together as to say that everybody is doing this. Everybody has this type of thinking that apparently we all complain about it and all of us still go out and buy it. He is being very stereotypical. Again, defend, 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 defend.
This all kind of culminates in a huge problem, which is entitlement. And people think they're getting gouged in the game industry, and people think that, you know, they're spending too much money. Well, I have a reality check for you. The reality check is that games are cheaper both in real money and in inflated money than they've ever been. Even if you spend $10 on From Ashes and added that to the $60 you paid for Mass Effect 3, your games are still cheaper than they were when I was a kid.
Alright, so how did this video go from talking about the ending to Mass Effect 3 to the DLC dislot content to the price of gaming? How many complaints or rant videos on YouTube or articles on blogs can you find on the price of gaming? Let's see, I know Alpha Omega Sin has one video where he actually complains about the price of gaming, but that's a relatively old video. Most of the other people that I subscribe to that rant, they don't even really have any rant videos about the price of gaming. So where does he get his information from? Here's a reality check for Colin Moriarty. If businesses truly wanted to make more money, they would actually lower the price of their products because reality states and common sense states that more people would actually buy it. So I don't really see how this even backs up his argument of the Mass Effect and the From Ashes DLC. It doesn't. It has nothing to do with it. Again, I guarantee you he was paid to make this video because all he is doing is defending, defending, defending. He doesn't explain why. He gives you examples of what you shouldn't do, but he doesn't explain why you shouldn't do it, and he doesn't give you examples of what you should do. Does that sound like the rational opinion of somebody who is trying to convey information to viewers to say, hey, this is why you're wrong? All he is saying is you're wrong. This is why, this is why, this is why. Defend, 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 defend. He has no argument. This video has just as much plot holes as the Mass Effect 3 ending.